Hey everyone! In this video today, I want to show you all how to make a super aesthetically pleasing take on a threaded loop. You can see with the loop, you have your solid color, and then it kind of opens up the pattern, and it just gives a very nice and professional look with an already super nice loop. It just ties it in so nicely for the rest of the pattern. So if you want to learn how to make this super cool loop, then keep on watching. Now I will say there are some requirements for this loop because it is a bit more of a special one to make. Ideally you would want to have a pattern that mirrors because it'll just make it way easier once you work up the loop. But if you do have your own sort of tricks on how you can make colors go off in the directions you want them to go, then that's totally fine. But to make things easier to explain, it's just very ideal to have a mirrored pattern, and then you have an even amount of strings on both sides. So I found a really fun and simple pattern to use as an example for this today. It's a sort of arrowhead that has an inverse chevron to start if you do look at the very top of the pattern, which is where I want to look. Now for the color of the loop is actually very important to figure out, as well as where you want to start in the pattern, because you can see here with my red color, it goes onto the very outsides. So whatever color you pick, it needs to end up being on the very outermost left and right side. So with the pattern that I'm looking at, I'm just going to start at the very top. We have a blue for our inverse chevron, but the previous color before that was purple. So that means I want this purple string to be my loop. For measuring your strings, you'll just do it any normal way you would before starting a pattern. So that's going to depend on how long you need your bracelet to be. So I will measure all of these the length that I need them, but for our loop, you want to measure this color at least a few more inches than what you would normally measure for your strings. And so for my pattern, we only need 2 strings of the same color, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and measure all of my colors off camera, and then I will meet you back up to make the loop. Alright, the colors are ready, and now we are going to do our loop. So, if you know how to make a threaded loop, this is already going to be very easy for you. We need to first start off by making a lark's head knot. So in my right hand, I have the color that I need for my loop, and then in the left is the rest of my colors folded in half. So you want to take the loop of your strand that you're going to use, and you're going to put it underneath your colors. And then you want to take the loop and sort of fold it over your colors, and then you'll have that loop open, go top to bottom, pick up your loose strands, and then pull that through. And now you have the start of your loops. So I'm going to flip it over so that way we have the bump on the top. And I'm going to start with the bottom strand of my 2 and kind of work this section down first. And we are going to work up at least half of our loop first. And depending on your string amount, how thick your bracelet's going to be, you may need to make more or less of these half knots, but at the end of the day, that's totally your preference. So because we have the bump facing up, you're going to take your loop colored strand and put it over your colors, and then pull that through. And now you can see that it's sort of underneath. And now that we have the bump kind of underneath, you'll take your strand and go underneath your colors, like so, and then pull that through. So I'm gonna do that 6 more times. And I didn't show most of that because I have it in a right-handed setup and I completely messed up a little bit down here, so just ignore that. But once you have sort of half the length that you want, you're gonna flip it over. And we're doing it this way just because we have our center point established and it's just gonna make it way easier to figure out. So we still have the bump on top. So we're gonna put our loop strand over all the rest of our colors and pull that through. And then go underneath and pull that through. And then do that as many more times as you need to. And you can see I am way faster at that left-handed. And also, if you want to, you can pick up your bracelet and kind of fold it over and see if the loop is going to be big enough for your ties at the end, which is why I say if you have a thicker bracelet, you will definitely want to have more knots because you'll want that to be a bit bigger for your ties. But this bracelet isn't too large, so I think that is a good size. And now we are ready to make our sort of opening for our pattern. I like to keep my loop as tight as I possibly can. And with taping, it might not really be that much help. It will kind of open itself up a little bit, but just as long as you keep that pinched pretty tight, it'll help shape it up much nicer. The way you need to order your strings on each side is going to depend on what pattern you are using. We are going to take our string and we're just going to pull it out of the group and leave that off to the side. And with my purple strand, which is my loop strand, since it's out on the left, we are going to do forward-backward knots on this left side. So go ahead and do your forward-backward knot on all of the rest of your strings. And then you want to pick out the second color. So in my case, this is green. Put it off to the side. And then again, pick up your loop strand and do a forward-backward knot. And then you will repeat that with all of the rest of your colors. So my next one's yellow. Picking up that string, putting it off to the side. And then we're going to do a forward-backward knot onto the rest of our strands. And then again, pick up the next color, put it off to the side, and then do your forward-backward knot. And you can see here, this is my final string on this side. So you work that up as much as you need to, but you can see our strings are perfectly separated. Go ahead and take your group and just throw it off to the side because we are not going to be focusing on that anymore. So go to the right side, and the idea still remains the same. You are going to find your first color on the right side, put that off to the side, and on the right side, you're going to do backward forward knots with your loop strand. So go ahead and do that really quick. Pick up your next color that you need, put that off to the side, and do your backward forward knot. Next color, pick it up, separate it from your group, and then do your backward forward knot. And then again, just repeat that until you have all of your strings separated out, and you can do your backward forward knot onto your very last string. And that is how you do your starting threaded loop. And this kind of loop is going to be perfect for those patterns that open outward. I'm going to go ahead and just do the first step of this pattern. Now, when you do the first knot, it is going to be a little bit of pulling back and forth because you want to be able to close this up without having any gapping, which I'll pull my bracelet back up here. I did have that problem just slightly right there. You can see that they pulled and it was not perfect, but I'm gonna go ahead and start the middle of my pattern here. And what helps is to kind of pinch this closed, so that way you can bring these strings as close together to the middle as possible. And then you can kind of pull your loop strands back out again, because this is like a shape start after all, so you do want this to come outwards. But yeah, you can just work on the rest of your pattern and then you have this super awesome loop. I am totally obsessed with this loop. It's just a really nice loop to try if you want to do something new. And it's not too difficult. Once you get the hang of it, it's so easy to do. You can do it so quickly. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Leave me any questions that you have down in the comments and I will do the best that I can to help you out. And I will see you in the next one.